All right, so let's talk about the second scammy thing that exists in crypto, and it evolves around high yield farming opportunities. So in crypto, there is three main ways that you can yield farm, or like collect the yield, right? Make an passive income essentially, and they're all pretty much the same thing, but basically, staking, yield farming, and liquidity providing are the three passive income methods in crypto where you basically deposit money, do a task with the money, and in exchange you get a yield or a form of income, right? So with staking, how it works is you stake, lock up your money. The money is used in securing the network. You secure the network, and you get paid for securing the network. Yield farming, similar concept. Liquidity providing, you basically deposit money into a pool. This pool of money is helping facilitate buying and selling of the token that you provided. So let's say in the liquidity pool you put Ethereum and USDT. Whenever someone wants to swap from Ethereum to USDT or vice versa, they use your capital to help facilitate this movement, right? You're basically giving liquidity to the market so that it's easier for people to buy and sell different things. And you get paid in the form of fees, right? People pay a fee to buy and sell, and you get a fee for providing the liquidity. So it's just different forms of the same thing. Now, not necessarily all of these are scams, but I recommend avoiding pretty much all yield farming, and some of the yield related things are scams, and we're going to talk about that as well. So is this a scam? No, it's not a scam, but using capital to secure a network or provide value, it's normal, and you might want to consider doing it, okay? I don't do it because it's just not worth it for me. We'll get into it later, but you might want to. The problem arises with this whole yield thing when the yield you make is from fake sources. So there's two types of yields in crypto. There is real yield and there's fake yield, and we're going to talk about the difference. So fake yield, the one you want to avoid, is basically yield money that you make that's paid from inflation. So you get paid in the inflation of the token that you're holding, which is a bad thing. And also, fake yield is unsustainable revenue sources. So a revenue source that's eventually going to disappear. Now, real yield is a sustainable yield paid from actual usage of the platform and network. So let's say you put your money into one of these yield related things, and you're helping the network or the project in some way. This project makes a revenue. They give you a percent of their revenue for helping them, right? You're basically like, how you work at McDonald's or something, and you flip burgers and they give you money. You're getting paid a yield from McDonald's for doing that work. Same thing here. You put your money, instead of you working, you put your money to work. And you put your money to work, it does stuff, and then you get paid for putting your money to work, right? And here is examples of yield that are good. This is like good revenue sources in crypto. So trading fees, transaction fees, options premiums, insurance premiums, borrower interest. So if let's say you do lending, you lend your money to someone else and they borrow it and they pay a fee for borrowing money, that's a real source of revenue. Let's say you put your money into a liquidity pool. Remember we talked about liquidity providing? Let's say you put your money into a liquidity pool to help give liquidity for people buying and selling. They pay fees. Well, trading fees from that is a real source of revenue, right? Now, obviously, if you're watching this as a beginner, this might be a little bit confusing. So if you're a little bit confused on some of these points, that's fine. You don't have to understand this stuff super well. So let me instead give you a visualization of the two types of yield. So fake yield is used to try to make certain coins look really good. So let me give you an example here. I Googled the best farming opportunities in crypto, and look, the Bitcoin ETF token is a high yield staking program, and they give you 1,500% returns a year. So if you put in $100, it's going to go up by 1,500% every year, apparently. Wow, that's crazy. So you basically make a guaranteed 15x on your money. Sounds a bit too good to be true, doesn't it? Right? So you can see in this photo here, this is the fake yield, this is the real yield, this is what it looks like. So this little pot here, let's call it a pot, is what is your money, right? And this is the money that you make, right? Let's pretend this is your wallet, your bank account, and this is you getting paid. Real yield is very small because the real yield from doing things is generally pretty small. But the inflation is generally a lot, right? They hike up the inflation so that they can hike up this number because people are dumb and they look at this and they go, wow, a 315x, I need to get into this opportunity. And they really rake it up. And this is what it looks like, okay? And this is sort of the cycle that happens, okay? So they start a token. Let's say it's a coin, right? They launch a token subsidy program, which basically means they give away free tokens, right? They do inflation of tokens. They basically make new tokens and they give them to people who are doing the staking or whatever it is, right? So the yield on your money increases. You're now making 1,500% a year or 250% a year, right? The users deploy capital to chase this yield. The TVL, the total value locked, and the growth metrics are boosted. The growth metrics are promoted on social media. Retail speculate on tokens based on growth metrics. Value of tokens used to subsidize yield increases. The yield on the capital increases. So this is what they try to do, right? They basically, they give away tokens to try to increase the usage and the value of the network. But a lot of the time, it's actually a scam, right? Because you will hear this thing about a high yield opportunity, 250% APY, and you will think to yourself, I deposit $100, I will make $250. But let me explain when the problem arises. This is where the problem arises, okay? So imagine I give you Imagine I give you $10, right? But then I take the $10 away from you. How much money do you have? Well, you didn't make any or lose any money. Well, imagine if I said that I'm going to give you 250% APY. Right? I give you 250% a year on your money by staking a token. But the token is going to inflate by 250% in a year. Right? Did you make any money? Did you make any money? I don't think so. Because I gave you $10, but I took it back from you. I gave you a 250% per year return, but I gave you this money by printing tokens, right? Because we all know market cap is what matters, right? If I have 100 tokens and they're all worth $1, right? They're all worth $1. The market cap is $100. If I have 1,000 tokens, fuck, this is really bad. Let me text this. If I have 1,000 tokens and they're worth 10 cents, that's $100 market cap. So the market cap is the same. We've gone from 200, we've increased the amount of tokens each person has by 250%. That's increasing the market cap. That's increasing the tokens by 250%. But the market cap stays the same. There's just more tokens which are going to be worth less. So this is the problem with fake yield, is you don't actually make money. But real yield is sustainable, right? Because real yield is money that you accrue which does not take away from any other money that you have. Because it's revenue to a company. When Apple makes billions of dollars, their stock doesn't increase. Their stock doesn't have suddenly more Apple stock. There's the same amount of Apple stock and they've made revenue. And maybe the revenue they give to the holders of their stock. That's real. Okay? So that's pretty much what you want to avoid. The key takeaways here is basically, if you lend your money, you need to figure out if it is real or fake yield. So let me give you an example of fake yield. Bitcoin ETF token, they tell you that they're going to give you 1,500% a year. That's a scam, right? This is just a straight up scam. Now, let's give you an example of a real one. Well, Lido, however you want to say it, you basically are staking Ethereum. And if you stake Ethereum, you get almost a 4% yearly return. Okay? There's $19 billion staked. And the reason this is real yield is because you basically are staking the token, which helps support the network, and you get income yield from fees of people using the network. Now, remember we talked about real sources of revenue? A real source of revenue is trading fees. Well, a real source of revenue here is trading fees. People send Ethereum in from MetaMask to people. They pay a fee. A percent of that fee is given to the people staking Ethereum. So it's a real yield. So this would be a good example of a yield. This would be good. You could do this one. That's key takeaway number 1. Key takeaway number 2. If the yield is high, always consider what underlying risks are associated. And number 3, passive income in general, I recommend staying away from in crypto. It's not asymmetric in nature. So I talked about this in the first video covering scams, like at the start of the course. But basically, in crypto, you want to be making 10 reward for every. That's like a good risk to reward, right? With investing. With opportunities in general, you want it to be like this. Trading, you can get away with less, but generally you want asymmetric upside in crypto. With yield farming, you potentially lose 100% if something goes wrong, and make what, 20%, 50%? So your risk to reward is 0.5 risk for 1 reward if it's a 50% loss. Sorry, 50% gain with 100% loss. That's a bad R2R. When you buy Bitcoin at 20,000, let's say 16,000, and you hold, your max downside is limited, right? Because we're in the brutal bear market, everything's gone wrong, sentiment's bearish, your downside is limited, but your upside equals massive, maybe 5x potentially, right? So you have limited downside and massive upside. It's asymmetric. That's the opportunity you would want to chase. Okay, so that's pretty much a summary, guys. I would avoid yield farming if I was you. Definitely avoiding fake yield farms. And yeah, I'll see you in the next scam. The next one is going to be prop firms. Cheers.